Okay, so good afternoon, all of you. Welcome to this lecture of applied thermodynamics. So today we are going to discuss what are the types of this reciprocating air compressors and how much work is being required in case of reciprocating air compressors. Okay, so before that, we'll take the revision of this chapter. Okay, so we are in chapter number 7, reciprocating air compressor. Okay. First, we started with what is meant by a compressor. Okay, so compressor is a device which takes a definite quantity of fluid and it delivers at a required pressure. Generally, the pressure is higher at the delivery side. Then we have seen what are its applications. Then we have seen the classification of compressors. Broadly, they are classified as positive displacement and dynamic. Then this positive displacement is further classified as rotary and reciprocating. Okay. Then we have seen what are the dynamic compressor, that is types of dynamic. First one is centrifugal and second is axial flow. Then we have seen positive displacement type compressors, in that there were two broad classifications. First one was reciprocating and second one was rotary. Okay. So as you can see from the constructional details, you can see the difference. Reciprocating, the motion is reciprocating from bottom dead center to top dead center. In case of rotary, that wheel is continuously moving, and because of difference in this cross section area, the air is being compressed. Okay. Then we have seen the rotary compressors. Some of these animations also I have showed you how the air is getting compressed. Okay. Then this was the animation for the reciprocating air compressor. Blue air is the fresh air, then it is being compressed, and compressed air is shown by the red color, right? So this is how this reciprocating air compressor works. Piston is initially at top dead center, TDC. Then it starts moving downward direction. So it takes the air inside, then it reaches to BDC. Okay. Once it takes the air inside, then again you start compressing. Compressing means it moves from BDC, that is bottom dead center, to TDC, top dead center. While it moves upward direction, it compresses the air, and finally that discharge button here, it is being open. Discharge valve is open, and the compressed air is being stored into a vessel, or it can be supplied depending on the application. So this was the figure, step-by-step operation of a reciprocating air compressor. Now today in this lecture, we'll see what are the basic definitions of a compressor, and then we'll start work done or work required in compressing the air. Okay, so in today's lecture, I will take the derivation. So I advise you to be ready with your notebook and pen. Okay, so as you do the derivations with me, you will come to know how these formulas are being there in this chapter. Okay, then there will be numericals, but if you understand the derivation, ultimately it will be more easier for you to solve the numericals. Okay, right. So we'll start the definitions, the basic definitions of a compressor. First one here, it is a compression ratio. Okay, now what is the compression ratio? It is defined as the ratio of volume of air before compression to the volume of air after compression. So if the volume of air before compression is V1, suppose, and volume of air after the compression is V2, that ratio is simply nothing but the compression ratio. Okay. Another ratio here we call it as a pressure ratio. So pressure ratio. It is also denoted by small r, pressure ratio. So this r is nothing but the pressure at the delivery P2 divided by pressure at the intake, that is the P1. Okay, so if I'm talking about the compression ratio, that will be V1 by V2. V1 is the initial volume, V2 is the final volume. So we can see that V1 is larger than V2, so this will be always greater than 1. And pressure ratio is the ratio of pressure at the outlet, which is always higher compared to inlet. So this will be again always greater than 1. Next, we'll see here, that is a compressor capacity. It is the quantity of air actually delivered by the compressor in meter cube per minute or meter cube per second. Now you may be confused why they have specifically said actually delivered. Okay, so we know that this compressor is nothing but a piston cylinder assembly. So there is this cylinder is there. Okay, and inside the cylinder there is a piston. And the capacity of any engine or compressor we are telling by the volume of the cylinder. So this is the cylinder, whatever volume inside this cylinder that we are specifying as a capacity. Suppose if I am talking about 150cc engine, okay. So we have this 150cc Pulsar, 150cc. This cc is nothing but the cubic centimeter. That is the nothing but the volume of that cylinder. If I'm talking about the volume of this cylinder, so that is nothing but 150cc. So this is the, you might have studied in IC engines, right? So here in this case is compressor capacity, it means that it is the quantity of air which is actually delivered by the compressor. So I'm not talking about the volume of the cylinder, I'm talking about the actual quantity of air being delivered. So this can be equal to the volume of cylinder or it may not be. Okay. The third one here it is fresh air delivered, which is also denoted by FAD. This we'll see in the derivations. So it is the volume of air delivered by the compressor under the compressor intake conditions. Okay. So it is the volume of air delivered by the compressor under the compressor intake conditions. So we know that outlet pressure is always higher than inlet pressure in case of compressor. Compressor ते discharge pressure असतं, ते कधीही त्याचा inlet pressure जास्त असतं. But if I am compressing the air at the inlet conditions, म्हणजे inletला जी air ज्या condition मध्ये येते त्याच condition मध्ये मी थोडं त्यात addition करून का त्याच condition मध्ये hypothetically जर compress केली air, so that term we are referring it as a fresh air delivered. So this is a concept. We'll see when we are going for the derivation. That time you come to know what is a fresh air delivered. Then there are some numericals based on this fresh air delivered. Okay. Next here we have a swept volume. The volume displaced or swept by the piston when it moves from top dead center and bottom dead center. Okay. So this way might you already studied in IC engine again. So if you have this cylinder, right, then we have one TDC, it is there, top dead center. Then at the bottom we have BDC, bottom dead center. Then we have piston inside the cylinder. So as the piston moves from suppose BDC to TDC, this length here, this length we are calling it as a displacement, and nothing but the L. If I take the volume between TDC and BDC, top dead center and bottom dead center, that we are referring it as a swept volume. Okay, swept volume. Right. Again, next one here is the clearance volume. This is again very important term here. So it is assumed or it is been decided that the piston stop. Okay, I'll draw a neat diagram here, then you'll come to know. I'll draw that cylinder and piston assembly. Okay, suppose this is a cylinder. Inside the cylinder, there is a piston here. Right? And then this is your top dead center, TDC. Suppose somewhere here it is your BDC, bottom dead center, right? Now, as you can see, cylinder's top is here. So this is your cylinder head or cylinder top. But the piston moves up to this TDC. म्हणजे piston फक्त या पोझिशन पर्यंत जाऊ शकतो, up to what? TDC. It cannot reach to top of the cylinder. Okay? And this The space between TDC and the top, we are referring it as a clearance. This we are referring it as a clearance. Okay, understood? This gap is being kept for the intake of the charge and to avoid some unnecessary noises if the piston continuously strikes the top of the cylinder. The piston सारखं जर इथं धडका मारायला लागलं तर काय होणार आहे? It would create the noise. Unnecessary noise and vibrations will be created. To avoid that and also to for the easy intake of charge and discharge of exhaust gases. So that is why we are keeping some clearance between the top of the cylinder and the top dead center. Okay. So here that was here clearance volume. It is the difference here. See, it is the difference between the total volume and the swept volume. So total volume. Again, I will show the diagram here. If you take total volume, that means this will be your total volume here. Okay. The swept volume will be between only TDC and BDC. So this will be your swept volume. This will be your total volume. And this in difference between VA total volume, that is VT, minus swept volume, that is VS. That is nothing but the clearance volume, VC. So this is your clearance volume. Okay. Now next here it is efficiency. So we'll see what are the efficiencies involved in a compressor. First one here is a volumetric efficiency. So volumetric efficiency, it is the ratio of actual volume of FAD, actual volume. It is the ratio of actual volume of FAD, fresh air delivery, at standard atmospheric conditions in a one delivery stroke. It is the actual air intake to the swept volume, theoretical air intake by the piston during the stroke. Okay. First, I will tell you what it means. Then we'll again read the definition. See what it means here. Theoretically, it is assumed that piston will deliver only this amount of air. But theoretically, whatever difference between TDC and BDC, TDC म्हणजे top dead center and BDC म्हणजे bottom dead center, यांच्यामध्ये जो काही डिफरन्स आहे हा एअर व्हॉल्यूम आहे तेवढीच एअर पिस्टन डिलिव्हर करे हे theoretically assume केलेलं आहे. But in actual practices, what happens? The volume of the air, sometimes it is higher, sometimes it is lower. So in that case, what they are saying here, it is actual volume. Suppose if I'm denoting VA as a actual volume of air delivered and VS is nothing but the swept volume. So this ratio, they are referring it as a volumetric efficiency. It is a ratio of actual volume to the swept volume. Okay. So VA divided by VS, that is nothing but your volumetric efficiency. This is denoted by this efficiency sign is there and V. Next here we have isothermal efficiency. So there will be three efficiencies will be involved, three type of compression work will be involved. Isothermal compression will be there will be polytropic compression, and then there will be a isentropic compression. So what are those we'll see in the derivation, and then you will come to know what is meant by a isothermal efficiency. Okay. So I'll read it here. It is defined as the ratio of isothermal power. Okay. So isothermal means the temperature remains constant. Okay. So there are some processes you might have studied in chapter number 1. The type of processes. So one process is isothermal process. Isothermal process means the temperature remains constant. So there will be a change in pressure. There may be a change in volume. There may be a change in other quantity. But the temperature, if it remains the constant, that will be isothermal. So it is defined as the ratio of isothermal power. Okay, that is the required input power at the isothermal processes to the indicated power or the actual work done. Okay, so if you take the ratio of this isothermal power to the actual work done, that will be isothermal efficiency. So in this case, they are actually taking the ratio of actual, how much actual work is being done on the air to the isothermal power required by the theory. The actual work divided by the theory work, that will be isothermal efficiency for isothermal processes. The third here we have mechanical efficiency. So it is the ratio of indicated power, that is IP, to the shaft power, that is brake power. Okay. So mechanical efficiency, this also you will study in section 2 of IC engines. So in that case, that mechanical efficiency ME is nothing but the ratio of indicated power to the brake power. Okay, brake power is nothing but the amount of energy received. IP or the indicated power is amount of work done. So in this case, a compressor, we can say that it is the ratio of indicated power to brake power. Fourth one here it is overall efficiency. It is a ratio of isothermal power to the shaft power or the brake power. So it is the ratio of isothermal power PISO divided by shaft power or the brake power BP. So this will be your overall efficiency. Okay. So note it down. The efficiency, mechanical efficiency is IP divided by BP. Overall efficiency is PISO, that is the isothermal efficiency or isothermal power, sorry, isothermal power divided by brake power. Then here volumetric efficiency, this is equal to actual volume delivered divided by the swept volume of the cylinder, right? So if you have any doubt, please ask. Because these definitions you have to keep in mind, and based on these definitions, so whatever theory we'll study in next chapters or next lecture, so that we'll shortly just mention these words. Okay. पुढे जे काही तुम्ही थेरी शिकणार त्यामध्ये ह्यांचा कुठेतरी हलकासा उल्लेख केला जाईल की स्वेट व्हॉल्यूम एवढं होतं, or the compressor capacity is this and that, isothermal efficiency, calculate the mechanical efficiency. So simply they will use these words, but what is meant by these terms, that you should know first. So if you have any doubt understanding these terms, please let me know. Okay. So another thing here, so I see the strength of your class has reduced to 50%. So only 36, 37 students are here in this class. So please do remember, you all are DS5 students. Some of you might have undergone through the industry exposure. So industry people or the people who will hire you through the recruitment or the placement processes, in that case, their expectation will be higher. Okay, so they know that you have passed this academic year in the online mode. So they will try to get to know you better. Okay, so they won't just blindly believe your academic performance. They will try to get the knowledge out of from you. So they will check that whether you have really understood the concepts or not. Okay, in order to understand those concepts, you have to very attentive in the class. Okay, if I call any student's name, he should be able to answer. So you can read this theory in book, no problem. But in lecture, what happens? The lectures are interactive. So if you have any doubt, you can directly ask. But in case of books, what happens? You will read, then you will note down, and in some day, you will ask the teacher. Okay, that process takes time. But in lectures, be attentive. If you have any doubts, please ask. Okay.
सर
Yes, yes.
इफिशियन्सीचे टर्म अजून एकदा रिपीट करायचे.
Efficiencies, na? Okay, okay. I will explain. So there are various efficiencies involved in the reciprocating air compressor. Now, first one we have studied here is volumetric efficiency. So what is it mean by that? See here, when I'm talking about the compressor, reciprocating air compressor. So there we have one cylinder, right? Then it has a inlet port. Then it has a outlet port or a discharge port. So here what I have is, I have one TDC is there, top dead center. Then I have a bottom dead center. So these are the imaginary lines, okay? So these are the line between which piston moves. So at top dead center, piston will be like this. It is here. its top surface will be at the TDC. Okay, when the piston will move downwards, in that case, piston will be like this. And of course, there will be a connecting rod and there will be a crankshaft. But I'm not showing those other things. I'm just showing the piston and cylinder. Now here, whatever volume between the TDC and BDC, this volume. So this is again one cylinder, right? If I draw a 3D diagram, so this will be your cylinder. Inside the cylinder, there will be again a piston. So this volume between the TDC and BDC, that we are referring it as a swept volume. And this all we already studied in IC engines. So volume between top dead center and bottom dead center is nothing but swept volume. Now theoretically, when the piston moves from bottom dead center to top dead center and then it discharges the air, compressed air. So it is assumed that theoretically the volume of air should be swept volume. Obviously, because piston is moving between these two positions and this will be the volume delivered by the compressor. But in actual what happens? The actual air or the VA is somewhat less than or higher than depending on the operating conditions. So if you want to compare that case, so always VA is less than the VS. Actual air delivered is always less than the swept volume. Because what happens, see, so already I have explained this in previous lecture. So when piston is at top dead center, right? So consider this case, piston is at top dead center and it has started moving in downward direction. Okay. Now theoretically, theoretically that volume or this wall should open and air should start flowing inside the cylinder. But this does not happen. लगेच टॉप डेड सोडलं की इनलेट वॉल ओपन होत नाही. So piston has to travel some distance. So piston will come here and then this wall will open. Okay. So piston has to create some vacuum inside the cylinder. Piston ला थोडं vacuum inside सिलेंडरच्या आत तयार करावं लागतं, निगेटिव्ह प्रेशर तयार करावं लागतं, मग कुठे जाऊन ते वॉल ओपन होतं. Again, in case of delivery also, so piston start moving in upward direction. Theoretically काय assume आहे की जसं हे बीडीसी सोडतंय, बॉटम डेड सोडतंय, so in that case this outlet wall should directly open. जसं piston बीडीसी सोडतंय तसं outlet wall open झाला पाहिजे. This is assumed by the theoretically. But in actually what happens, so piston has to travel some distance, let us say this much, then it will create some extra pressure and due to that pressure this delivery port will open. So you can see this is much amount of air is being delivered. हे जे हॅश लाईन मी केलेली आहे किंवा हा जो व्हॉल्यूम आहे एवढीच कॉम्प्रेसरनं एअर डिलिव्हर केलेली आहे. And swept volume is this much. Okay. So as you can see, this is a actual air delivered VA and this is a VS swept volume. VA is less than VS. And how to compare this? So if I take the ratio of VA divided by VS, so that will be volumetric efficiency. So the general value will be given in the range of 65 to 70%. Then next we have isothermal efficiency. This you will come to know better when I will take the derivations. So I'm going to take the derivation today. That time I will again explain what is isothermal efficiency. Mechanical efficiency is a very general term. It is the ratio of indicated power to the brake power. Okay, so brake power is the amount of energy given to the engine or given to the compressor. And indicated power is actual energy being utilized. Okay, तुम्ही इनपुट देता 100चं पण त्यातलं समजा 70% पॉवर जर युटिलाइज होत असेल, so in that case efficiency will be 70%. The last was overall efficiency. This is again the ratio of isothermal power to the brake power. So how to calculate the isothermal power? So there is a derivation and there is a formula for that. So we'll see in the derivation. So time being, you remember these terms here: compression ratio, ratio of volumes. Then we have pressure ratio, ratio of pressures. Then compression capacity, free air delivery, swept volume, and clearance volume. Okay, clearance volume is very necessary in order to reduce the vibrations and noise inside the compressor. Okay, so give the title here. So we'll take the first derivation of this chapter. So give the title, work done by a single acting single stage reciprocating air compressor, or in short I will just write down RAC. Okay, so see here what is meant by single acting here. So if I take again an example of piston and cylinder. So suppose this is a piston cylinder assembly, and the air will be delivered by only one face of piston. So this is a one face of piston, air is moving. So this is the inlet port, this is the outlet port. So if the air is being delivered by only one face of cylinder, so this will be single acting. Okay. Now there is another piston cylinder assemblies here. So this is like this. So it has two inlet ports and it has two outlet or the delivery ports, and piston is moving like this inside, right? So these are not the actual diagrams. I am just drawing some schematics. If the air is delivered by the both sides of the piston, that will be double acting. So when piston will move in this direction, suction will be created, air will move inside. When piston is moving in this direction and compressing the air or delivering the air, suction will be created on this side. So this is nothing but the double acting, means we are making use of two faces of cylinder. So this is a double acting. Single acting versus double acting. Then we have single stage reciprocating air compressor. So there are compressors, single stage and multi-stage. Multi-stage मध्ये कसं असते, 2, 4, 6 सिलेंडर piston cylinder assembly असतात. Single stage म्हणजे we have only one piston and cylinder assembly, like in this case. Okay. So I'll rub this. Right. So give the title, work done by a single acting and single stage reciprocating air compressor. Again, one more important thing here, it is work done. Okay. So this is actually a wrong term to say because it is a compressor. So there are two things you maybe already know. One is turbine and another what we are studying here, it is a compressor. Okay. The basic difference between these two is turbine is a work producing device. So in this case, we can say that work done. Okay, work done. And compressor is a work consuming device. So in this case, the proper words will be work required. Okay, so this is the difference between a turbine and a compressor. Turbine is the work producing device. So in that case, we'll say work done by the turbine. Compressor, on the other hand, is a work consuming device. So we'll say how much work is required for the compression. So this is a actual word should be used. But in this case, what we are referring here, it is work done on the air. Okay, work done on the air or work required by the compressor, that we are going to derive here. Okay, so you should not get confused by the terminology. Okay, compressor is not a work producing device, it is a work consuming device. Right? Okay. Now we'll draw the processes inside the compressor on a PV chart. PV chart means pressure versus volume chart. So I'll draw vertical axis. So this vertical axis represents pressure. Then we have a horizontal axis which represents volume. Okay. Right. So I will assume that piston is now at the BDC. Okay. So, or I will draw one simple diagram here so that you will understand. So this is a suppose cylinder. This is an inlet port. This is the outlet port. Okay. Then here we have TDC. Okay. So this diagram, we are assuming that there is no clearance volume. So this won't be TDC. Directly this line, to the top of the cylinder, this will be your TDC. Okay. So in this case, it is assumed that no clearance volume. Okay. Later we'll see that what is the effect of clearance volume. But in this case, there is a no clearance volume. So TDC directly the top of the cylinder. Then we have one BDC, bottom dead center. Okay. Now I'll take a point 1 here. 1. Okay. Which is means that piston is at BDC. 1 means piston is at BDC. And it is starting to compress the air. It is starting to compress the air. So the compression will be like this. Okay. And it will reach to 0.2. It will reach to 0.2. Now 0.2, what is the 0.2? It is a discharge pressure. Okay. It is a discharge pressure. That means at this pressure, the air or the compressed air will be delivered. Then there is a process 2 to 3, constant pressure delivery process 0.3. Okay. So at the 0.3, all the air, all the compressed gas or all the compressed air is being delivered. Okay, or it is stored in the receiver. Now there is another process 3 to 4. So 0.4 will be here. So at 0.4, enough suction pressure is created inside the cylinder and the air is starting to move in. Okay, so this is a inlet port is open and air is starting to move inside. So at this point, at the 0.4 or at 0.3, the piston is at TDC. Piston is at top dead center. Now as the piston moves from top dead center to bottom dead center, the air will be taken inside at the constant pressure. Okay. So this is the cycle or this is the PV diagram for a reciprocating air compressor. I will explain again. See here at the point 1 ha kya hai? Piston is at BDC. Piston is at BDC. So that means piston has taken enough air inside the cylinder. आता cylinder च्यात air आहे. आता आपल्याला काय करायचे? Compress करायचे. Now the piston will move in upward direction from TDC to BDC to TDC and it will compress the air. Then it will reach to 0.2. 0.2 is the point of discharge. म्हणजे 0.2 ला एवढं सफिशियंट प्रेशर तयार झालंय की आता मी त्याची डिलिव्हरी करू शकतो किंवा ते एअर डिस्चार्ज करू शकतो. सो 0.2 to 3 is constant pressure discharge of air. Okay. Then I have reached to 0.3. So 0.3 is basically the top dead center. Piston is at top. Then it will start moving from downward direction 3 to 4. So at 4 it has created enough suction pressure. म्हणजे काय केले? पिस्टनने एक आत व्हॅक्यूम तयार केले किंवा एक सक्शन प्रेशर सफिशियंट तयार केले की ज्याच्या प्रेशरने या निगेटिव्ह प्रेशरने काय होणार आहे? इनलेट पोर्ट ओपन होणार आहे. Now at 0.4 the inlet port is open. Okay, so at 0.4 inlet open and the air will move inside. So here again piston is moving from TDC to BDC and the air is taken inside and piston again reaches to BDC, that is 0.1. Okay, so 2 to 3, 4 to 1. Okay. So this is a PV diagram, pressure versus volume diagram. Again, we have another diagram which is called a TS diagram. So these diagrams will again repeat in other subjects also, like we have rack, we have IC engines. In that case also, we will come to know PV diagrams, TS diagrams. So another one is temperature. So temperature is on the vertical axis and horizontal axis we have entropy, that is a S. So TS diagram. So here in this case, we can show these diagrams. So we have one curve, constant pressure curve, P2. Then we have one constant pressure curve, that is a P1. Okay. Then we have a point here, 1. So 1, at point 1, what is happening? Piston is starting to compress the air. At point 1, piston is starting to compress the air, right? So it will compress the air means it will move in this direction. Pressure will change from P1 to P2. Okay. So draw these two diagrams. So this is a work done or work required by a single acting single stage RSC with no clearance volume. With no clearance volume. So no clearance volume means the TDC will be itself the top of the cylinder. So there will be no gap or there will be a zero gap between top of the cylinder and top dead center. So those who are going to appear for GATE or other technical mechanical related exams. So ATD is very major subject there. So if you check previous GATE, the weightage of subjects. So in that case, you'll observe that out of 100 marks question, 100 marks GATE question, 15 marks are for general aptitude subject. So that means there will be question related to your apti. And other 85 mark question is technical paper. Out of that take 85 marks, 10 to 12 marks question every year are asked out of applied thermodynamics. Okay. So for GATE exam, I am telling this. Only for GATE exam, I am telling this. That the majority of questions will be from ATD. And again, SOM is also another important subject in GATE point of view. SOM, machine design, applied thermodynamics, and metrology, production, all those are very important subjects. If you take the mastery of this subject, if you try or practice maximum MCQs from practice books, easily can crack the GATE exam. Okay. So not now. Now in our lectures, we'll focus for your university exams. I mean, your all these exams are over. We'll take some special sessions for the GATE preparation. Okay. So I hope you have drawn this diagram. So this is a diagram for the single acting single stage RSC reciprocating air compressor with no clearance volume. Okay. Now, so you see here, there are some interesting processor happening here. So there are three types of compression happens. First one is, let us say isothermal, or let us say isothermal, yes. Second type of compression happens, that is isentropic. So isothermal means temperature remains constant. Okay. Isentropic means that entropy remains constant. And third one here it is polytropic. Third one is polytropic. Okay. So polytropic means it follows the law, that is pressure into volume, volume raised to some index is there, PV raised to N is equal to constant. Okay. And if you take this N as this gamma, so that will be a PV raised to gamma equal to C, that is a isentropic process. Okay. Again, this gamma is nothing but the ratio of specific heat Cp by Cv. Okay, so this you might have studied in chapter number 1 here in ATD, or you might be already knowing from your diploma knowledge. This gamma is ratio of Cp by Cv. Cp is the specific heat at constant pressure, Cv is the specific heat at constant volume. Okay. In case of isothermal, temperature is constant, so simply you can write PV or P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. This will be a constant value. So here in this case, the compression process 1 to 2, either it can be isothermal, either it can be isentropic, or it can be polytropic. Okay. So let us say this 1 to 2, here it is polytropic. Then let us take another process and denote this point as again another process. So we have three processes here. So 2, let us say this 2 dash and this is a 2 double dash. Okay. So the curve having less slope. Okay. Curve having less slope. This curve. This is your isothermal curve. So this may be a MCQ question will be asked in your ATD exam, university exam. If it happens in online mode, they will give you these 3 curves and they will ask you which one is which. Okay. So the inside curve or the curve with the less slope, that is a isothermal curve. The middle one here, it is a polytropic. And the curve with the steep curve or the highest curve or slope, that curve is a isentropic compression. Okay, so we have 3 compressions here: isentropic, polytropic, and isothermal. The inner curve is always isothermal, the outer curve is isentropic, and the middle one in between isothermal and isentropic, we have a polytropic curve. Okay. In case of TS diagram, also I can show it. So isothermal means temperature is constant, so that will be a horizontal line. Okay. So let us say 1, 2, 2 dash. So why it is isothermal? Because if I extend to this axis, that means the temperature remains constant, that is at a point. And if I go for isentropic process, that means entropy remains constant. So this will be a vertical line. Okay, 1, 2, 2 double dash. And this is a polytropic process. Okay. So this is a isothermal. This is a isentropic. And this one is polytropic. These all are the compression processes. Right? Okay. So this is another good figure for what I have showed you recently. So there is this PS diagram is in front of you. So 1 to 2 here they have showed. This will be a polytropic process here again. Inside will be isothermal and outside that will be isentropic or reversible adiabatic. Okay. Right. So let us see what are the operations here. 4 to 1. Okay. 4 to 1 is volume V1 of air aspirated into the compression at P1 and T1. So this is the amount of air which is being taken inside the compressor. So that is denoted by V1. Then 1 to 2, see here, air compressed according to the PV raised to n constant from P1 to P2. So if I am talking about this blue curve here, only this blue curve, that will follow the law PV raised to n equal to constant. That is a polytropic process. Then temperature in that process increases from T1 to T2. So this is again very interesting observation here. While compressing a gas or compressing the air, always its temperature increases. Okay, so the temperature is increasing from T1 to T2. Then we have 2 to 3, compressed air at P2 and V2 with temperature T2 is delivered. So discharge process is constant pressure. So at a constant pressure P2, that air is being delivered. Okay. So we are dealing with 2 pressures here. First is P2, which is equal to P3. This we are referring it as a discharge pressure. Then first we have P1, which is equal to P4. This is a suction pressure. Then we have pressure ratio. So pressure ratio is small r. Small r is equal to P2 divided by P1. Okay. Next, during compression, due to excess temperature above the surrounding, the air will exchange the heat to the surrounding. So if you see the actual figure of a reciprocating compressor, there you will see there are some fins or extended surfaces on the cylinder of the compressor. This is to dissipate the extra heat which is generated due to the compression. म्हणजे कॉम्प्रेशन होताना एक एक्स्ट्रा हीट जनरेट झालेली असते, ती हीट डेसिपेट करण्यासाठी किंवा त्याचं पसरवण्यासाठी किंवा तिथलं टेम्परेचर कॉन्स्टंट ठेवण्यासाठी त्याच्या फिन्स प्रोव्हाइड केलेले असतात. And in some cases water jackets are also provided that water will carry away the extra heat. So quickly I will show you from net or some of the figures of this reciprocating air compressors. So this is one of those air compressors here, as you can see. So this is here is a multi-stage compressor because it has two cylinders. This is a low pressure, and then you have a high pressure compressor. Okay. Then it is the power is provided by a electric motor, which is connected to an electric motor. The compressed air is stored into this receiver. Okay, and this receiver has given some wheels also for easy transportation. The schematic diagram for this process is shown by this diagram, as you can see here. This is your reciprocating air compressor. This crankshaft receives the power from an electric motor, which is donated by M. This compressed air is stored in a store tank. Okay, there is a storage tank, and according to the application, that valve will be open and that compressed air will be passed. Okay. So these are some commercial reciprocating air compressors, what you are seeing on the screen. And most of them are multi-stage compressors. None of them I can see is a single stage compression. So why all they are referring to a single stage compression, multi-stage compression and not single stage, that we'll also see in the later part of chapter. So I think this one is the single stage compressor. Yes, so this is a single stage, single acting reciprocating air compressor. There is only one cylinder and piston assembly, as you can see on the screen. This compressed air is stored into this tank. Okay. So this is a very major industrial product, and if you like study this in detail, and then if you go to the industry, if you look for the vendors, and if you start think that I should start my own company or I should manufacture my own reciprocating air compressor with my company tag and all that, so that also you can do. So just you have to study what are the pressure limitations in this system, how to regulate the pressure, and then you can see for the various parts. So all the parts you do not need to manufacture. You can take this receiver from one vendor, you can take the motor from one vendor. Then at your workshop, you can only just assemble these things, and then you can put your company's trademark logo here, and then you can sell it. Okay. So those who are interested in businesses that are solely related to industries, they can think in this way. Okay. Many of the products, they do not have to manufacture all the small parts of it. So if you take an example of a vehicle, जर मला एखादी vehicle कंपनी स्वतःची तयार करायची किंवा चालू करायची, त्या केसमध्ये मला काय सीटापासून ते विंडो शील्ड पर्यंत सगळ्या गोष्टी मी मॅन्युफॅक्चर करावं असं काय नसते. आय कॅन कॉन्टॅक्ट टू वेंडर्स, आय विल टेक देअर प्रोडक्ट्स, देन ॲट माय वर्कशॉप आय विल just assemble it. But for that also I will need some patents, I will need some registration to be required. After that I can manufacture my own car and then I can sell it. Okay. Right. So we'll go back to our syllabus here. Okay, so during compression, due to excess temperature above the surrounding, the air will exchange the heat to the surrounding. So temperature increases during the compression, then that extra heat has to be dissipated. The compression index N is always less than gamma, the adiabatic index. Okay. The compressor is a work consuming device. So that's what I was saying is a work consuming device. Okay, work consuming means एअर कॉम्प्रेसर करण्यासाठी आपल्याला एक्सटर्नल पॉवरची गरज असते. आणि एक्सटर्नल पॉवर आपण कुठून घेतो तर इलेक्ट्रिक मोटर पासून घेतो. सो द इलेक्ट्रिक मोटर इज कनेक्टेड टू युअर कॉम्प्रेसर. दॅट मोटर will supply the external power to the compressor. So compressor is a work consuming device. It requires some external power. Every effort is designed to reduce the work. Means all the engineers will do the efforts to reduce the work. That means that inlet power should be less and the outlet work should be more. So work done is the area under the PV curve. Okay. Okay. Now here our objective was to calculate the work done, right? So I have drawn this diagram. I'll draw here again PV diagram for the work required or the work done here. So work done here in this case. So this is a PV diagram, pressure volume diagram for a reciprocating air compressor. This is the process 1 to 2, which is a compression process, 2 to 3. Then we have 3 to 4 and 4 to 1. Okay. So in this case, if I want to calculate how much work done during this compression, this will be the area enclosed by this 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 1. If you take this closed area, so this will be your compression work. Okay. So here I have to simply apply my geometric knowledge. How to calculate this area? First, I will calculate area. So I'm interested in area 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 1. Area 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. How to calculate this area? I will divide this area into two parts. So simply I will draw one line here. Okay. So I can draw the area 2 to 3. Okay. So I will take this area 2 to 3, then 3 to origin, and this one. So this will be my area 2 to 3. This will be simply a rectangle. Then plus area under 1 to 2, all the area under 1 to 2. So this area under 1 to 2, this will be another area. And from this area, two areas, I will subtract this below area, this one, that is a area 4, 1. Okay. So area under 2 to 3, area under 1 to 2 minus area under 4 to 1. So that will give me this hatch area, that is a 1 to 2, 3, 4, 1. Okay. So this will be your compression work. Please write down. And then we'll see how to calculate area 2 to 3, how to calculate area 1 to 2, how to calculate area 4 to 1. Okay, those having trouble to understand how to calculate this area, see what I have done here. I will show at this point here. Okay. So I have taken an area 2 to 3. Okay. So this is your area 2 to 3. Okay. To this, I have joined another area that is a area under 1 to 2. So this is a 1, this is a 2. So this area I have taken. So this plus this. Okay. But I am interested only hatch area. This is the hatch area here. So what I will do, I will subtract this below area. So this area I will subtract. So that means area under 2 to 3, area under 1 to 2 minus area under 4 to 1. So that will give me this hatch area. Okay. So another thing here in this previous diagrams, okay. So if I going to calculate the area 1 to 2, okay, area 1 to 2, okay. Now see here, I will ask you this question. Let us see how many of you can visualize it. So there is this process 1 to 2, which is a compression process. Then there are three ways to achieve it. Either you can do isothermal way, that is 1 to 2 a dash, or you can do this isentropic way, that is a 1 to 2 double dash. Okay. And I am going to calculate the area 1 to 2. That means area under this curve 1 to 2. Now, which curve will give me the minimum area? Okay. So I repeat my question. 1 to 2 is a compression process. There are three ways to achieve it: isothermal, polytropic, isentropic. In which case the work required will be the minimum, or the area will be the minimum. That means work required will be minimum. So either it can be 1 to 2 dash, or it can be 1 to 2, or it can be 1 to 2 double dash. So which one, or the which path we should choose in order to require the minimum work? Okay, so why I'm saying minimum work? Because the compressor is a work consuming device. Our objective should be that I should require the least work. म्हणजे मला intake कमी मिळाला पाहिजे. So in case of compressor, the objective is always to calculate the minimum work required. Opposite to that, in case of turbineच्या case मध्ये काय असतं? In case of turbines, our objective is to calculate maximum work, how we can achieve the maximum work. But in case of compressors and in case of pumps, our objective is how to minimize the work required. Okay. So any guess that which path will give you less work? So this is very geometric question. You can compare the area under this curve. So you have three curves here, 1 to 2 dash, 1 to 2, and 1 to 2 double dash. So you have to tell me in which case the area will be minimum. So I understand that this is the afternoon session. Many of you are in some another zone of absency, but please concentrate because this is very important. Not because just because university point of view, but these concepts are very important. Because if you know this chapter whole and solely, that if you just mug this chapter, or you if you understand every aspect of this chapter, any industry which is working in the manufacturing of reciprocating air compressor or simply air compressor, that will be a plus point if you go for the interview, right? So you know all the things about the compressors, you know how to calculate the work required, you know how to calculate the efficiency. That will be a plus point or in your resume. Okay. Plus we have this vocational industrial programs or vocational industrial trainings we have after your second year, and that exam you have to give or that training you have to complete in your vacations. In that case also you can visit or you can do the training in an industry whose product is reciprocating air compressor or simply air compressors. Right, so I have some answers here. Let us see. 1 to 2 dash, 1 to 2 dash. So both the answers they are saying 1 to 2 dash. So that is a correct, right? So if I draw an area under 1 to 2 dash, so this will be like this, and this will be the area. And anyone by looking at this figure, they can easily say that this area will be less compared to others. Okay, this whole area, not just this one. Wait, not just this one, this whole area required for a compression. This whole area. Okay. So if I take the isothermal way, in that case, I will be requiring less area. If I take this middle one, that is polytropic way, I will require more area. So this much amount of more area will be required. If I go for the isotropic process, this much amount of work will be required extra. Okay, so that means if I follow the isothermal way, in that case, I will require minimum area. If I follow the isentropic way, in that case, I will require maximum area. Okay, so that is why there is a very special treatment or very special importance is given to isothermal compression. In case of isothermal compression only, we will require less work or less power from the electric motors. So right, so thus the comparison between the isothermal work and the actual work is very important, because in case of only isothermal compression, just now we have seen that we will require very less work. Then isothermal efficiency. So one student have asked about this. So isothermal efficiency, how to calculate, that will be isothermal work divided by the actual work. Actual work is nothing but the power received from motor. Generally it is noted it as a prime mover. Prime mover. So whatever power the compressor is receiving from the electric motor or the prime mover, that will be its actual work, and isothermal work required. So in that case, we have to calculate the area below the curve, so that will be isothermal work. If I take the ratio of this, that will be isothermal efficiency. So thus, the more the isothermal efficiency, more the actual compression approaches to the isothermal compression. Okay, now how to calculate this actual work here? So this will be equal to area 4 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. That means 4, okay, 4 to 1, then 1 to 2, then 2 to 3, and 3 to 4. So we are interested in this area. We're interested in this area. So just now I have told you how to calculate this area. So this will be equal to area 4 to 1 minus area 1 to 2 minus area 2 to 3. So these are the two. This is the area under the compression curve. This is the area under the rectangle 2 to 3. And this minus the area under rectangle 4 to 1. Now see, very interesting part has come here. In this case, I have taken these two areas minus area 4 to 1. And here in theory part or in the book part, they have shown that minus area 4 to 1 has shown as plus side and minus these two areas. What is the difference or which one is correct? So both are correct. See, compression work is always negative. So if you go by this equation, this will give you always a negative value. This will again give you negative value, because by looking at the diagram, you can see that this area 4 to 1, this is very less compared to other two areas. So if you subtract bigger area from the smaller area, that will always give you negative value. Negative value means that will be your compression work. So compression work is always negative. So if you calculate this way or the previous way, we will get the same value. Okay, now how to calculate this area 4 to 1? Area of 4 to 1 is nothing but this area. Okay, this area is area 4 to 1. This is simply the area of a rectangle. This will be given as P1 into V1. So one side, as you can see here, that is a P1. Another side, this will be this V1. So P1 into V1, that will be area of the rectangle. Now how to calculate area under 1 to 2? Area 1 to 2 is here in this case, first case, I have taken it as a isothermal compression. So isothermal compression, in that case, you might have studied this in first chapter, or you might maybe still studying it. So area under, or the work required under isothermal compression is given by P2 V2 minus P1 V1 divided by N minus 1. Okay, so N here is the index of that apolytropic compression, minus area 2 to 3. Again 2 to 3, as you can see here, is a rectangle. So its area will be what you say, like height into base, or what you say, the length into breadth. So here the length here is V2. Okay, if you take only this 2 to 3 rectangle, this one 2 to 3. Okay, in this case area will be, one side is P2 and another side is V2. So P2 into V2, that will be area of the rectangle 2 to 3. Okay, so then they have just rearranged the terms here. So as you can see here, this is a P1 V1, which is taken here. This is taken on one side. This is taken on another side. Okay. Right. So I'll just add some blank slides to this derivation, and I will do the derivation. Okay. So let us draw the diagram again, PV diagram for a compressor, pressure versus volume. So this is a diagram for without clearance volume. Okay, without clearance volume, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, again 4 to 1. Okay. Now here I am interested in calculating the area or the work required, or the compressor work. So that will be area 4 to 1 to 2 to 3 to 4. Okay. How to calculate this area? This will be equal to area 2 to 3 plus area 1 to 2 minus area 4 to 1. Now this area 2 to 3, this area 2 to 3. Okay. In this case, this one side is P2. Okay. So this is a pressure. Here is pressure P2. Here is pressure P1. In this case, one side is P2. So P2 into this side. So this side they have taken here it as a V2. Okay. This is V2 and this one is V1. Okay. So P2 into V2 plus area 1 to 2 for isothermal compression. So this here will take a case 1. So case 1 here it is isothermal compression. In this case, this area will be P1 V1. Sorry, not P1 V1. This will be P2 V2 minus P1 V1 divided by N minus 1. Divided by N minus 1. Okay. Minus area 4 to 1 is nothing but the area of this small rectangle, that will be equal to P1 into V1. Okay. So simply on one side I will take this P2 V2 minus P1 V1. So this I have taken here. Then plus P2 V2 minus P1 V1 divided by N minus 1. Okay. This again can be rearranged as P2V2 minus P1V1 into in bracket 1 plus 1 divided by n minus 1. Okay. So this bracket thing I have taken common outside. In square bracket, I can write it as a 1. 1 stand for this one. Okay. 1 plus 1 divided by n minus 1. Okay. Now, if I simplify this 1 plus 1 divided by n minus 1, what it will give me? 1 plus 1 divided by n minus 1. So this is like n minus 1 plus 1 divided by n minus 1. This will be n divided by n minus 1. So if I simplify this compressor work, this will be equal to P2 V2 minus P1 V1 into n divided by n minus 1. Okay. So this is just first step here. This is the work done or the work required in the case of isothermal compression. Okay. Okay. So written all this. Okay. So this you can further modify that compression work is equal to n divided by n minus 1. Okay. So this time your exam will be online. So no need to again practice these derivations. So in case if it happens in offline mode, that time you have to just practice it. So we'll more focus on the formulas and the numericals, right? But like I said previously, if you know the derivation, then you can easily calculate the numericals, right? So n upon n minus 1 into P1 V1 into in bracket P2 V2 divided by P1 V1 minus 1. Okay. This way I have just rearranged some terms. Now for a polytropic compression, so first we study the polytropic compression, then we'll study the isothermal compression. So in case of polytropic compression, this P1 V1 raised to n is equal to P2 V2 raised to n, right? So simply I can again rearrange this as V2 divided by V1 is equal to P1 divided by P2 raised to 1 by n power. Okay. So these and these are same, no need to worry. I have just rearranged some terms. So there are some steps actually I have omitted. So this again you can write it as a V2 raised to n divided by V1 raised to n equal to P2 divided by P1. If I take nth root here, so if I take nth root, that case that will be V2 by V1 divided equal to P2 by P1 raised to 1 by n. Nth root I have taken. Okay. So here in this case, again I can write this in the above equation. So compressor work here required will be equal to n divided by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into in bracket P2 by P1. So, pardon, so if anybody has written here isothermal work is correct to polytropic compression. So first we'll see polytropic compression, then we'll see what is the isothermal compression. Okay. So continuing here, compression work will be equal to n upon n minus 1 P1 V1 into in bracket P2 by P1 into in bracket P1 raised to P2 raised to n by 1. Okay. So simply this V2 by V1, I have corrected it here. P1 by P2 divided raised to n minus 1 minus 1. Okay. So this again will be equal to n upon n minus 1 P1 V1. So see here, this is very interesting rule of power. If I'm saying 4 raised to 2, okay, into 4 raised to 3, right? So base is same, that means it is 4, but the power is changing. This is equal to 4 raised to 2 plus 3. So this is a rule. If the base is same, then you can take the summation of the power. So here that same thing I will do. Inside the bracket P2 by P1, P2 by P1. So here power, hidden power is 1. Okay, if nothing is there in power, that means there is a 1. Simply there will be a summation of 1 plus 1 by n minus 1. Okay. So I'll continue this derivation. I hope you are writing with me. If you are not writing, then please try to recover it from the notes. I will provide the notes also. So again, if I continue the same derivation here, the compression work will be equal to n divided by n minus 1 into P1 V1 into in bracket P2 by P1 raised to n minus 1 divided by n divided by n minus whole minus 1. So this is another expression for a polytropic work. This is for a polytropic work. Okay. Now second case, here we have case 2 as an isothermal compression. Isothermal compression. Again, if you want to calculate the work required or the compression work, that will be equal to area 4 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4. Okay. This area, how to calculate that we have seen earlier. You have to calculate first area of 2 to 3. Then you have to plus area of 1 to 2. Then minus area 4 to 1. Okay. So here we have seen that area 2 to 3 is nothing but P2 V2 plus area under the isothermal compression. So that we have to calculate. Okay. Now you have studied in first chapter that if I want to calculate the work in isothermal process, so that will be equal to, in this case, starting from the pressure P1, so that will be P1 V1 natural log or ln V1 by V2. V1 by V2, or you can take P2 by P1 also, minus P1 V1. Okay. Now see here, this is an isothermal compression process. That means the temperature will remain constant and the product of pressure and volume P1 V1 will be equal to P2 V2. So this holds good only in the case of isothermal processes. Only in isothermal processes P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. So here, as you can see, these two terms will be cancelled, P1 V1 and P2 V2. So compression work will be solely equal to P1 V1 log V1 by V2. Okay. From this, you can say that V1 by V2 is nothing but equal to P2 by P1. So compression work, again I can write it as a P1 V1 log P2 by P1, log P2 by P1. Again, P2 by P1, discharge pressure divided by suction pressure is a pressure ratio. So this also I can write it as a P1 V1 log pressure ratio. Okay. Again, if I take help of an ideal gas equation, okay, so there is ideal gas equation, PV is equal to MRT that you might have studied or might have heard somewhere. So if I want to calculate P1 V1, that will be equal to MRT1, MRT1. So compression work for a isothermal processes, you can write it as a MRT1 log compression ratio. Sorry, pressure ratio. Okay. So here in this case, only if you know the mass flow rate of air, if you know the temperature of incoming air or the inlet air, and that pressure ratio, easily you can calculate the amount of work required in a isothermal compression. Right. So we have seen from the diagram that work required, okay, work required for compression. Here in this case, if I take isothermal work, that will be the minimum work required. It is followed by the work required in a polytropic process. And then maximum work is required is in the case of isentropic compression case. Right? That is the beauty of isothermal compression. Minimum work is required in case of isothermal compression. Okay. And we'll take the third and last case, that is a case 3, that is a isentropic compression. Isentropic compression. Okay. Third case here is the isentropic compression. Isentropic processes, that means P1 V1 raised to gamma equal to P2 V2 raised to gamma. What is the gamma here? Gamma is nothing but a ratio of specific heat at constant pressure, that is Cp, divided by specific heat at constant volume, that is a Cv. See here, the formula for isentropic compression and the formula for polytropic compression, these are same, only the power or the index changes. So here compression work will be equal to gamma upon gamma minus 1, okay, into P1 V1 into in bracket P2 by P1. So here in this case, here it is N. So if you see the polytropic processes, here it is N, here it will gamma. So gamma minus 1 upon gamma minus 1 inside the bracket. So this will be the formula for the polytropic compression. Okay. Another formula is there for the isentropic compression. Isentropic compression. Isentropic. Another formula is there, that is the WC is equal to mCp delta T. That is means T2 minus T1. This way also you can calculate the isentropic work required in case of isentropic compression. Isentropic compression. Okay. So first I will revise these three cases so that you will not get confused with what is happening here. So this is where we started. We started with the work required in the case of reciprocating compressor. I have showed you some processes 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and 4 to 1. Then we started calculating the work done. So work done is the area enclosed within this curve. So whatever area is there, whatever area shown by the hatch lines, that is the area we are interested in. Now how to calculate that area? First we have to calculate the area of 2 to 3, that is the rectangle. Then there is a curve 1 to 2, under that curve, that area we have to calculate. And from these two areas, we have to subtract the area under 1 to 4, okay, or 4 to 1. Okay, so we started that derivation here. Right? We started with the polytropic process, and the end we have reached to this point. So this is the work required in the case of polytropic work. Then I showed the work required in the case of isothermal compression. So that area will be the same, but here in this case, what happens? This P2V2 and P1V1, these are cancelled because of isothermal compression. Because in isothermal compression, P1V1 is equal to P2V2. So finally, we get this value P1V1 log P2 by P1, and P2 by P1 is nothing but pressure ratio, that is a small r. So P1V1 log r, that will be the work required in case of isothermal compression. Next here we have isentropic compression. So isentropic compression, we can replace this n from this equation by gamma. So we'll get this equation, or another equation for this case is mcp delta t, or mcp t2 by t2 minus t1. Okay, so I think this is enough for today. In next lecture, we'll take what is the importance of a clearance volume and what difference it makes. Then we'll take what is the need for multi-stage compression. Then we'll see, or we'll solve some numericals for this case, right? So quickly, I'll take one numerical and then we can stop. Okay, so I will write down the problem. I'll just type it here on the screen. Then together we can solve that. Okay, so this is one problem I have typed from the textbook. It says that a single stage reciprocating air compressor takes 1 meter cube of air per minute at 1.013 bar and 15 degrees Celsius and delivers it at a 7 bar. Assuming PV raised to 1.35 is equal to constant. So this is the law for this polytropic process and no clearance volume. Calculate the indicated power. Okay. So first I will write down the given data here. So given. So here in this case, the volume flow rate is given, that is 1 meter cube per minute. Suction pressure they have given here it as 1.013 bar. Then they have given this delivery pressure as a 7 bar. Okay. Then they have given this inlet temperature also, that is a 15 degrees Celsius. How to convert this into Kelvin? So this will be 15 plus 273. This will be 288 Kelvin. Okay. This follows the law PV raised to 1.35 equal to constant. Okay. So this is the given data, and then we have to calculate the indicated power or the work required or the compressor work, actual compressor work that we have to calculate. Okay, so this IP. So just now we have derived this equation for the IP or the we can say compressor work. Here it is given as N divided by N minus 1. Okay, P1 V1 into in bracket P2 by P1, right, raised to N minus 1 upon N whole minus 1. Okay, and here all the values are given to you. So this value is given, N value is given here that N is equal to 1.35. This value is given, P1 is given, that is 1.013 bar. V1 is given in 1 meter cube per minute. Then P2 is given 7 bar, P1 is given, and all the values are being given. So IP, I'll just write down the values here. Then you can calculate on your own. 1.35 divided by 1.35 minus 1. P1 is given 1.013 bar. So that bar we have to convert into Pascal. So 10 into 10 to power 5. Into volume is given 1 meter cube per minute, that we have to convert into 1 meter cube per second. So 1 divided by 60. Again in bracket here 7 divided by 1.013. So as both are in bar, so 7 is also in bar, this denominator is also in bar, so no need to convert to Pascal again. So simply you can write this as it. Then this as 1.35 minus 1 divided by 1.35. Okay, whole minus 1 and inside the bracket. Okay, so somebody calculate this and tell the answer. Calculate this and tell the answer. So in one stroke, you should be able to calculate this in your CADC. That much skills you should develop, that in one stroke you can solve this one equation or this calculation you should do in one line. So calculate and tell me the answer. Okay, any answers? 4.23 into 10 to power 3. Okay, good, good. So Suyesh,
4.30
can you tell me
4.30 into 10 to 3.
its unit? What will the
Sir,
unit of?
4.30 into 10 raised to 3.
Okay, okay, okay. No problem. Just here and there is in some digits is there up to 4 point. Can you tell me the unit of that? What will be the unit of whatever value you have calculated? This is again very interesting thing because they have given the volume in terms of per minute. Okay, so if they have not given the value, if they have given the value simply V1 equal to 1 meter cube, so in that case, what will the unit? That will be joules. Okay, so power will be in joules, but as they have given the volume in terms of per minute, so that unit will be watts. Okay, whatever value you have calculated here, 4.23. So others also please calculate because the one who is calculating, he will understand what is happening here. If you are just looking at the screen and not practicing, that will be complete waste of your time. So 4.23 into 10 to power 3 unit here will be watts. Why it will be watts? Because this volume is given in terms of per minute. Okay. So generally the unit of power is, we all know, that is a joules. So generally unit of force, we know that is a Newton. And then if you multiply Newton by meter, so that will give you power, that is in joules. And if you divide joules by time, that will give you power in watts. Okay, so here joules divided by time, that will be watts. Or simply I can write this as a 4.23 kilowatt. Okay. So this is one very simple example which is I have taken from the textbook. Okay, so there will be other examples in case in which you have to calculate the volumetric efficiency also. But first what we'll do, we'll take another derivation for a clearance volume. So today in this class we have taken a derivation for a reciprocating air compressor, single acting, single stage reciprocating air compressor without clearance volume. And in next lecture, we'll take the derivation with clearance volume and we'll see what is the difference between the two formulas. Okay, then we'll saw some other numericals, and then there is a very small part is there, which is a multi-stage compression. Okay, so that will also cover in next lecture. Okay, so be attentive and try to understand the concepts, try to solve these numericals. You will get the idea. Okay, and this is again very big field, reciprocating air compressors. Most of the industry require the air reciprocating air compressor. Even the companies which are having VMC, CNCs, even our workshop. So if you want to clear those finally completed products, in that case we require very pressurized air, and the pressurized air from where it comes? It comes from a compressor, right? So compressor stores this compressed air into the receiver. From the receiver, we'll take that air and we'll clean the objects. So there is very wide applications for this reciprocating air compressors. Okay. So those for whom it is possible to come to the college, please come. In our workshop, there is one, this compressor is there. I will show you its parts and its working. Okay. Right. Okay. So I have taken your attendance with the help of this Meet Attendance extension. And in next lecture, as I told you, we'll